Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome back to Bariatrics and Beyond, the podcast where we talk about life before, during, and beyond bariatric surgery. So grab a snack, grab a drink, because today's episode we have one of our, I would say, VIP Facebook members, the one, the only, Jon O'Connell. Hi, Jon.
How's everybody doing today? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and I love that you wore pink. What's the occasion?
It's an honor of being on your podcast. I mean, I met you in Vegas, and I really realized that you're a huge fan of pink, and ever since I had surgery, I have gone out of my way to change my fashion sense and actually wear different colors that I never would have normally worn before. So this is stepping outside the norm a little bit, but I actually like the way it looks on me. So
I love it, and I've noticed that, but we're going to loop into that in just a sec. So before we get ahead of ourselves, introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, how old are you, and all that fun stuff.
I am Jonathan O'Connell. I go by Jon. I am 49 years old. I will be 50 in April. I had VSG surgery with Dr. Ortiz when I was 48 in 2023. I have lost 153 pounds total. I lost 51 on pre-op diet, and then I lost another 102 total after surgery from June of 2023 until recently. So
amazing. So where are you from?
I am from Salem, Oregon. Not the as you could tell by the background behind me, it's kind of cloudy and rainy today. So
'Tis the season. It's actually even like that in Vegas today. So you mentioned you lost how many pounds on pre-op? 50 what?
51.
How long did you do
51
your
total.
pre-op diet for?
So I started doing my pre-op in January of 2023. It wasn't by necessity. It was I had made a New Year's resolution to myself that I was going to lose weight, and so I started in January, and I got down to, I think I'd lost a total of 27 pounds when one of my friends told me about EOC and possibly having weight loss surgery, and it was at that point that I entertained actually going and started doing my research and everything. And once I actually made the decision, I kept doing the plan, the diet plan that I was on, exercising as much as I could, given the pain in my knee. And at that time, I just started following the program that they set aside for me for the pre-op diet at that point, and just kept doing it until I went for surgery. So
Awesome. So what was the deciding factor, like your aha moment to have surgery? You said you had pain in the knee. Was that like a contributing factor, or what was it for you?
it was. So I was looking through my family photos when we all went to Hawaii in 2022 for Thanksgiving, and I was realizing how out of shape on the hikes I was, how much I had to stop and so forth. I had bone on bone. My meniscus disc in my right knee was bone on bone at that point, and so I was basically trying to sort of gut it out and do the best I could. But my aha moment was when I came back from Hawaii. I went and had blood work done at my doctor, and I had high blood pressure, fatty liver disease, sleep apnea, and then to top it off, my doctor told me that I was pre-diabetic, and it just sort of like, it really, really it was a visceral gut kick when I heard that, because having been married to a diabetic before, I knew all of the really negatives to that sort of a lifestyle, and it was never something I really wanted for myself. And so it sort of kicked me right in the gut, and it was like, hey, you need to fix this now before it's too late. So
Right, like an eye-opening moment.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was one of those moments where I wish I could go back and sort of, make a better, better reaction to it, because my reaction at the time was to, like, I was super depressed about it, and I turned to the one thing that I'd always been comforted by, which was food, which was the problem in the first place. So it really didn't help,
It's
but,
a vicious cycle. Tell us, like, so were you overweight your whole life, or did the weight just creep up later in life? Tell us about that.
so from I think the time I was 9 or 10, I'd started gaining weight, and I never really curtailed it or tried to slow it down or stop it, and then when I got to high school, I think I was in 320 plus pounds when I graduated from high school, and I really didn't think I was too unhealthy at the time, but then, through a series of events, I ended up leaving culinary arts school after I graduated, and I moved to Florida, and I took a job in a car wash, and I dropped like 70 pounds, and I mean, it was grueling work drying cars all day in the Florida
And the
sun, so,
heat,
I mean,
yeah.
it was brutal, but,
Yeah.
I ended up dropping 78 pounds and then joined the military, and at that point, for 4 years, I worked out every day, I ate healthy, I did the things I was supposed to do, but at the same time, I was also a smoker and a heavy drinker, so it was like I really wasn't living a healthy lifestyle at that time, so it sort of pushed me to really take a look at it when I left. I didn't really wanna work out anymore, didn't wanna exercise, and so I just stopped, and then the weight just sort of slowly crept in and crept in and crept in, and then it got to the point where it was at, in 2022, and I realized I needed to make a change or it wasn't gonna ever change for me, and given my family history, I was really not aiming in the right direction towards a healthy end to my life, so
Yeah, I love that. So you mentioned that your friend told you about weight loss surgery. Had you known about EOC before, or was like medical tourism, having surgery in Mexico, like a brand new thing for you?
it was a brand new thing for me. For me personally, I was leaning more towards going to Canada because I'd heard some of my friends talk about, oh well, they have some good programs up there that are reasonably priced, and it's not too expensive. And so I was looking into it here in the U.S. and it was like a 2-year wait list. I needed to get down to, I believe they wanted me at below a 30% BMI. And then on top of that, it was going to be, I think like $38,000 price tag for the surgery, which I was
It's
just like, how am I supposed to do that?
crazy.
Like,
It's almost like they wanna keep you unhealthy because, like, you're more valuable. You know what I mean? Like, you're contributing more money the more unhealthy you are. It's just blows my mind.
yeah, the dietary supplements program in the United States is ridiculous. And just it's a multi-billion dollar a year yeah, deal. But why would they ever want to change that? If they,
It's money.
but yeah, when
So, yeah, Mexico.
when I first heard about it, my loan officer, Alana, was actually getting ready to go and have surgery with the EOC, and she was telling me about it. I was a little skeptical at first, as it's like, this surgery Mexico, you'd heard horror stories, and so I was a little skeptical of it at first, but then she started talking to me about it, and she's like, "There's a support group on Facebook you'd be interested in," and so I started like looking into it, and then I looked into Dr. Ortiz, and I was just blown away by the fact that in the bariatrics industry, he was like leading the charge for the movement, and I was just taken aback by it. I just couldn't like wrap my brain around it at first, and then
It's so
sort of
impressive, huh? Like,
yeah. Oh,
people like, "Oh, other surgeons board certified?" I'm like, "Ma'am, he's president of the board."
Yeah,
Like,
that's the thing, like,
yeah,
he leads the charge in training the people that are, they're supposed to be the people who train other people, so, yeah, for
exactly.
me, I was like, this is like an easy decision for me, especially coming from a position where I knew I needed to do something to change my life, and if I didn't, it was gonna be one of those instances where I might face an early death, and it scared me, to be honest, and it pushed me to make a drastic step. And yes, it is a drastic step, but again, one that's if you're looking down the barrel of 50 years old, and the possibility that you're on the unhealthy side of diabetes and facing the real ramifications of those decisions that you've made in your life, it really brings it home. So
It really does. Like, I think for whatever reason anybody wants to lose weight, whether it be for health reasons, whether it be for aesthetic reasons, like who are we to judge why someone wants to lose weight? But I think when you get to the point where it's like, wow, like because same thing for me, John. I was like, I'm morbidly obese, and then when I broke down the word morbid, I was like, holy crap! Like this is serious. Like I could die just from being overweight. When you have that aha moment, it's like I want to live. Like there ain't no going back. So, yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so you heard about Mexico. Your loan officer friend told you like, yeah, I'm doing it, and you did your research. Dr. Ortiz was good. Did you still have like any kind of like, And then how was it when you got there?
I had reservations until I started talking to my friend Amanda, who had gone through this surgery in 2018, and at the time was inviting me to go with her at the time to do it with her in 2018. And I have gone over it and over it, kicking myself that I didn't take her up on that offer sooner. And it just was like, what are you doing, idiot?
Yeah.
But yeah, she went and had it done. And so I reached out to her to ask her, I was like, what surgery did you have? And she told me she had the VSG surgery, which was the surgery that Alana was having. And she said that it's not bypass, it's, they removed the stomach. So I started looking into VSG and seeing what that was about. And I started realizing this is what's going to do it. Cause I'd always, tried the fad diets, whatever, yo-yoed up and down with the way that things went, and never really had that moment where it's like, yes, I could eat healthy, I could eat less, I could exercise more, get the weight off. But then as soon as I went back to my old eating habits, it started right back in where it was like, no portion control, no, and then it just would snowball and spiral out of control for me. So for me, this was like, hey, this is going to take your lack of self-control and portion sizing and force that
Yeah,
issue.
it is gonna
Oh,
keep you on track.
it
Yeah.
definitely does. Like,
Yeah.
I see a lot of people on Facebook questioning that. They're like, "Oh, what if I get cravings again?" You'll get cravings. There's no lie about that. But the point is, you won't be able to act on those the way you used to. For me, sitting down to eat an entire pizza by myself used to be a national pastime, if you will. But now I can't even make it to a slice without, okay, I'm gonna have to eat two pieces or two bites out of this, set it down and come back later, eat two more bites. And by the time, an hour has passed and it's ice cold, I'm finishing, maybe the smallest piece of the box, which is for me super awkward, but
Eh,
at the same
it
time
works.
is really great now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us about your experience in Mexico. How was that for you?
For me, it was really, kind of an eye-opening experience. I'd been down to Tijuana, when I was in the military in, the late '90s, early 2000s, and it really wasn't what I was expecting. Because having been down there before, I was like, "Okay, I know what it is, this border
It's
town is all
changed
about."
a lot,
It
huh?
has changed considerably. And I was just like the pharmaceutical companies that have popped up all over the place, the doctor's offices. It is really, really a different town now from what I remember back in the day. So
Can we
yeah,
talk about, like, how beautiful the hospitals are and the doctor's offices? I'm just like, "Where are we?"
when Alana went, she kept showing me pictures. She's like, "Oh, this is the resort I'm staying in," and she like walked around the hotel room with a camera, showing me, and then she showed me the view of the golf course, and I was
Mhm.
like, "That's Tijuana?" I was
Yeah.
like, okay." And so then I was like, and then she showed me the whole layout of her room and everything in the bathroom. I was like, "Man, that's really, really nice." And then I got there and I was like, "Oh my god,
Like, this
this
checks.
is like," yeah, this like checks all the boxes.
Uh-huh.
Like you go to like places where you're expecting like a vacation, a 5-star resort, and that's exactly what you get when you get there. It
Mhm.
was very, very eye-opening when I got there.
It's like surgery and a vacation, isn't it? It's so
No,
cool.
it's
Yeah.
very much a vacation with the added benefit of, "Hey, while you're here, we're gonna
Take your
trim
stomach.
some Yeah. It's just take 85% of your stomach. You're not going to miss that, you know?
Don't worry, we'll leave your kidneys.
Yeah. That was the other thing too. Like everybody and his brother kept saying the same thing. Oh, if you're going to Mexico, you're going to come back with half a liver, you know, and minus one kidney. You know, it's not that way. And then having had my friend Amanda go through it back in 2018, and then Alana going through it, like I think she went 3 months before I did, and so this sort of like really set my mind at ease, especially considering Alana had the complication of a hernia when they went in to do her surgery, her VSG. They found a hernia and had to correct it, and they did it right there while she was on the. I was like,
Isn't that
wait,
cool,
what?
huh? Like they
Yeah, I
do
was
that
just
too. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, hey,
That one surprised me.
here's an issue, you got a hernia, and
Yeah,
if you have a hernia, we're gonna fix it. And you're like, well, thank you, because if you don't have insurance in the USA, that'd cost you an arm and a leg.
exactly.
Or a
You know,
kidney.
and well, and that's the other thing too. You know, you face the realities if you try to have that done here in the U.S. and you end up with a hernia when they open you up. They close you back up and send you back out. And they're like, oh, you have to have hernia surgery and then recover X amount of months before they can go. It's like,
Right, and then
why?
who wants to go under anesthesia, like, anesthetic, like, twice back, you know what I mean? Like, if you just one and done. That's what I love, and
Exactly.
same thing with, like, the gallbladder too, you know, if you have gallstones or gallbladder issues, like, that can be done at the same time, so you can really have the trifecta if need be, but, you know, hopefully you don't need that. So, what was, like, your favorite memory when you think back about your trip in Mexico? Like, I say your trip, but like your surgery, what was like your favorite memory? Because like I know for me, I think our drivers are like the best, and like they kind of for me they really made my trip. But what was it for you?
For me, it was the nursing staff at the hospital. They went above and beyond. I mean, I came out of surgery, and for whatever reason, I was one of those rare few that has like really really bad gas pain, and I remembered my friend Amanda telling me when you get as soon as you can get up and start moving around, try walking because it'll help with the gas pressure. And so I was walking the hallways all night long. I had surgery, I think at 5:45 at night, and got out of surgery, I think at like 6:30, quarter to 7. And well, at least that's what I remember. And
Yeah,
I know it only takes like 20 minutes, but
yeah.
it's still for me, it was like
You gotta
I
wake
didn't
up
wake
still. You gotta
back up.
recover,
Yeah. So,
and yeah.
but yeah, as soon as I woke up, I just really had really bad gas pressure. And so like they accommodated the fact that they put my IV on a rolling IV cart so I could walk around with it. And I spent the entire night from 7 o'clock at night all the way through until 6 the next morning walking the hallways of the hospital. And anytime I needed to stop to get medication, well, I'd walk past the nurse's station and they'd give me my stuff there and do my checks right there instead of, meet me in the room. And so
John's like, I'm
it
getting my
was
steps in. Did you have your Fitbit on?
the funniest part about that. I didn't have one at that point because I wasn't able to walk all that much because of my knee. But that night, I really my focus really wasn't on the pain in my knee, it was more on
The
the gas
gas,
pressure, and
yeah.
when it finally subsided and I
Mm.
was able to sit down and sleep, it was, I mean, I think a huge blessing in disguise because it sorta, like, gave me the opportunity to introduce myself to a lot of the people that I probably never would have met had I not done that because the staff was in and out of other people's rooms at the time, introduced themselves to me. They really made a conscious effort to sort of like introduce themselves, say hello, talk to me, find out how I'm doing. I had one instance where I ended up getting pain medication and I was walking and threw up in one of the garbage cans in the hallway. It's just like one of the nurses like stopped and she's like, "How are you doing?" She's like, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" I was like, I don't know what that was, but I guess the pain medication made me a bit
Bit
nauseous and I
nauseous.
wasn't expecting it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was just one of those things.
Yeah.
But
I always tell people, get up and walk. It's good for the gas pain, but you never know who you're gonna meet in those corridors, you know? Like, Dr. Covarius might be walking through, Dr. Ortiz is always in and out, depending what hospital, you might see one of our plastic surgeons, like, it's pretty cool.
I do have to say the other part that really made my trip worthwhile, and I wasn't expecting it. Dr. Ortiz came into my room and talked to me before surgery and told me that after checking on my blood work and my liver enzymes and stuff and the pictures that they took and everything. He said that it looked really, really good. I was in great shape for surgery. It like really put my mind at ease because having fatty liver disease, they tell you that, if you uh with it's sort of like I don't know how to put this politely without it sounding gross, but like a steak that you over marinate, I think where it's just like you lift up on it, it sort of like falls apart, I
Yep.
guess.
Mhm.
He was saying that that's the
Tenderized.
risk. You really run the risk of having really bad damage to the liver. And he said it was purple, it was really in good shape, and it was going to allow for a good surgery. So I was like, for me, that really, really reached out and put my mind at ease right there to say, hey, you're going to be fine. You're going to get through this. Because let's be fair, you're going in for surgery. It's somebody's cutting into your body to remove something. It's a scary thing, and everybody looks at it like, oh, this is what if you died down there? And I'm like, what if I'm sitting in my living room watching television, eating a pizza, and drop dead because I was too stubborn to do something about it when I had the chance? So
Chances are that is more likely to happen than the other, you know what I mean? If you don't get on the right track. Like, people always say that, they're like, "Oh, I wanna do the surgery, but I'm so scared about all the risks." I'm like, the risks of, like, that all the comorbidities bring with being obese, that is a higher risk than anything happening where you having a 20-minute surgery, like,
risk of stroke, risk of heart
heart
disease, risk,
disease,
like high
everything,
blood. It's like,
diabetes,
ugh,
cholesterol, like,
yeah, yeah,
all of that, like, so
it adds
sometimes
up.
we gotta
Yeah.
get out of our own way and don't let fear stop us for living what could potentially be our best life ever, and it is. So let's talk about that. So how much weight have you lost to date?
I have lost a total of 153 pounds since I started the journey. So
That's
it's a
incredible. Tell me all about life now. Like, what's changed for you? Everything. Because I know in the beginning you were like, I would have never have wore pink. But so like, tell me everything. Like, what's been like the best change?
the best change for me is the NSVs for me. Like so
So if anyone
no
out
more
there doesn't know what an NSV is, it's a non-scale victory. They're the things that no matter what the number is on the scale, all the other things that matter. So go ahead.
exactly. So I no longer have fatty liver disease. I no longer have high blood pressure. I no longer have sleep apnea.
What about
My
pre-diabetic? Are you still
I
pre-diabetic?
am no longer pre-diabetic anymore.
Yay.
My A1C has now dropped to a normal level again. Uh, the funniest part for me, and the one that really has been an eye opener, is I used to have knee pain in my right knee that was so bad that I would compensate by leaning to my left to carry all my weight on my left knee, which would aggravate my sciatic nerve on the left. And so I was like really, really uncomfortable. But I stopped having any sort of knee pain or any sciatic pain or any joint pain whatsoever. And I went into the doctor to talk to him, and come to find out, the meniscus tear that I had was on the inside of my knee on the right, and it was where a lot of my weight was pressing down, forcing that bone to bone contact. Well, there's still meniscus in the rest of my knee. And so as I was losing weight, the bone is then moving, separating apart. So I'm no longer bone on bone. So I no longer have knee pain to go with it, which
So
was a
good.
huge, huge
That's
bonus.
huge, yeah.
So yeah, that was
Otherwise, that would have been
definitely a
another surgery
surprise.
you would have had to have gone through, you know what I mean?
Exactly, and that was the one I was, like, they gave me an injection in my knee a couple of times to kill the pain in it, but then I was thinking, if I'm, pushing this side of 50 and I have to have a knee replacement, is that something I really wanna do, and so but then, like, the other one for me was I'd always wanted to go skydiving again. I'd done it in the military, and I'd always wanted to do it again, so it was like I you had to be below 200. I think it's like 215 pounds before they let you go here in Oregon. And so once I saw Eric doing it, I was like, oh, definitely doing that. So we went and did skydiving a few
I
months ago.
love that. So tell me about that. So you guys, Eric is another weight loss surgery patient, and you guys, did you just meet in the Facebook support group?
We did. So when I first came on the Facebook support group, there wasn't a lot of guys that were posting. I mean, there was Chris, who was a huge, huge, huge inspiration to me, and he was one of the first ones that I saw. And yours was the second one I saw, and then through a series of at the time when I was joining, Shane had just won plastics and
Plastics,
was
yep.
getting ready to travel to Mexico. So those were the 2 guys that I'd met, and I was like, "Is there any other guys in here?" And then, Eric sort of reached out to say hello, and in talking to him, he and I realized that we were the same height, almost the same, body mass starting out, the whole thing, and so I picked his brain a lot in the sense that, he was like sort of that I don't know, that even keeled starting
Yeah.
point for me where it
Yeah.
sort of gave me the mindset of what was possible, uh, going into it because 'cause he'd had the same VSG surgery and so forth, and so, uh, now we just sort of like and then I, of course, ran into him at the
The
reunion in
reunion.
Vegas last year, yeah,
Uh-huh.
and,
You guys just hit it off.
we
Who
hit it off and
doesn't
started
hit it off with
talking.
Eric? He's
He's
so
great,
cool. I love
yeah.
Eric. And he's coming on
That
the
was
cruise too. I'm so
yeah,
excited. Yeah.
as am
Yeah.
I.
Can't wait.
So yeah, I didn't realize it until, I had left Vegas and came back home, but, we were, I have a side business where I make cheesecake and he happened to see it on my Facebook page and asked me if I could make him one for his, for a birthday that one of his relatives was having, and so I was like, "Well, I don't know where I'm, about shipping it," and he's like, "You live right down the road from me," and I was like, "Wait, what?"
Get
So
out
I
of
didn't even realize
town.
he lives in the same town as me,
In
so
the
yeah, it
same
was,
town?
yeah, yeah, we
No
both live in
way.
Taylor Work, and yeah,
I didn't know that. I knew, like, I thought, Oregon, but
I
I just
didn't know it either until
that's
I ran up, but yeah,
crazy.
now that we know each other lives at the same time, it's sorta like we get together when we can so yeah, he's the one that got me into skydiving. We went to the same place together and skydived the same place on the same trip together.
I love that. You guys, like, that's that honestly, like, this is what's so special about this whole experience. You know what I mean? You're going to another country for surgery, and it can be scary and it can be daunting, and you're making this huge life-changing decision. But here you are, met somebody who lives in the same town as you. They went to the same place as you. You both come to Vegas together for the reunion. You're both doing the cruise, and you just "Oh, I'm making a cheesecake here, la 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 la.
Yeah.
Let's go skydiving." Like, it is not just like surgery and see you later. Like, you make lifelong friends and connections, and it's such a beautiful experience, isn't it?
Yeah, to be honest, like, the people in my group, it was, me and, uh, there was I think the shuttle that got picked up from the airport, there was a total of 4 or 5 of us in the van together, and, out of that entire group, the only other person besides me is Veronica, and that, interacts on Facebook anymore, and it's sorta like it was super awkward because I was the only guy, but I was just like, okay." I felt sorta out of place, but then I was with, Alana came as my companion, and so as soon as they all found out that she had gone through and had the surgery months before, everybody and his brother had questions
Picking
for
her
her about,
brain, yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
"Can we ask you this? Can we ask you that?" And so I sorta, like, drifted into the background because 'cause I'm like, "Okay, well, I've already asked her all these questions, and I know all this already." So I was like, "I guess I'm out," you know? I was like but yeah, for the most part, none of them came on Facebook after that, and so I was just like
Yeah.
so when I was in Vegas for the reunion, I ran into, Alana's group of friends when she went for her surgery, and they all keep in touch with each other. And so I got to know Liz and Brittany and some of the others that she had, hung out with. And so getting to know them, I sorta, like, latched onto their group as sort of like, "Hey, I lack the sort of like EOC family from my trip, but I sort of like gained one
Yeah.
by proxy by hanging out with her. So it sort of like goes to that, once you're in the family, you're part of the family forever. Everybody and his brother will reach out and sort of like help you out whenever they can, or even, hang out if you need somebody to hang out with. So
I love that. So it kind of is more of a female dominated thing. There's a lot more females having the surgery than there are males. However, there have been a lot more males lately, So can you give this one's for the men, for the guys out there. Can you give the guys a piece of advice for someone that, they're thinking, oh, I want to have weight loss surgery, but, maybe they're just afraid of just, being one of the only guys. But can you give them some advice? Like, what would you say to men thinking about having this surgery?
uh for me, it was one of those things where I looked at it, I was like, okay, there aren't a lot of guys posting on here, but at the same time, those that are making the concerted effort to sort of like reach out to other guys to be like, hey, welcome to the group. There's not a lot of us in here. So if you have questions, sort of like lean on the other people in the group. Don't sort of like try to carry that burden of what if by yourself, because it can be daunting having to sort of ask questions of the women in the group when you have a question that's related to what would pertain to mostly just guys.
Yeah.
So like testosterone buildup in the system, like what's the hair loss like for guys, which
You seem to be doing fine.
we're all and that's the thing. I lost my hair years and years before I had surgery, so I really don't care.
It
I mean, for me,
suits you anyways. Yeah, you got a good head for it.
yeah, I do. That was one of the things that even when I was heavier and my BMI was high, I really didn't really have a problem with a bald head. But
Yeah, it looks good on you. I like it.
thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, for me, like one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was from a friend of mine that told me that he quoted, and I don't remember where the quote came from, and I've tried to find it again, but I couldn't. But it's the every good thing that's ever happened to us in our lifetime lives just on the other side of fear.
Oh,
So
it's
if you
so true.
are willing to rise above that fear, put that fear aside, and try something new, you're not going to regret it. I guarantee you. Yeah.
Guaranteed. Guaranteed. So, Jon, you said you were married before. Are you single now?
Yes, I am.
So how did the ladies get in touch? No, just kidding. So I kind of want to know from like a man's point of view, how is dating after having weight loss surgery? How is that for you?
It's actually not that difficult. And here's the thing, like before, like I really got the inference that it's like, oh hey, you're cute, but and it's like if you just lost a little weight, you'd be great, but
Oh,
so
good. So you get the butt too. It's universal. So
oh
guys
yeah,
and
yeah,
girls. Okay,
it's
right.
give me a break. It's everybody, it's like,
Yeah.
oh hey, you're cute, you got a cute face, and it's like, but
The
it's like,
worst.
thanks, man, I appreciate that. Warm fuzzies inside. For me, it's now you look at it, like you get openly flirted with in the grocery store walking through, and it's like, okay, but is that, something I'm interested in? Because it's like, I'm not looking for, hey, this is going to be, you know, uh, one night stand or whatever. I'm not, that's not the person I am. So I'm just sort of like, I take it with a grain of salt. I appreciate the kudos, but at the same time, I'm like, if you'd have ran into me a year and a half ago, I know for a fact you wouldn't be having the same conversation with me. So it's
Right.
like,
So with the new people that you meet, do you tell them, hey, like, this is a brand new body to me. Like a year and a half ago, I was 150 pounds heavier. Or do you not mention it? Do you just roll with who you are now?
I mention it right away.
Do ya?
Like a lot of people want to go out to eat. They want to go out and have a good time. And then, if you don't touch anything, you eat like 2 or 3 bites off your plate and you're extending the conversation. And whilst they're eating, they feel that sort of like awkward need to be like, is there something wrong with your food? And then so if you don't explain it, you're going to end up having to explain
At
it by
some
the end of the
point.
night.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
might as well just get it out of the way and rip the Band-Aid off.
Right.
And so maybe that's just the Marine in me. I'm just like, let's get it done and over with.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. That's cool. Yeah, that's so interesting because we had a guest on last week and she's like, no, I don't tell them until like it gets to that point where I feel like they need to know, or, if it's just like a first date, she's like, no, it's none of their business. So it's really interesting to see. There's no right or wrong way. It's whatever works for you, but it's really interesting to see,
For me, it's just simpler. It makes it like, so it's like I've been through this system. I have restrictions for my diet. I can't like if they want to, oh, let's go have pasta at an Italian restaurant. And I'm like, okay, but I'm only going to eat like 2 bites of that, and I'm going to be so full that I'm not going to really be a good company for at least an hour afterwards.
Right. It's like
And then,
dates are a little different. It's like, let's just go do something fun
yeah.
instead.
Well, and that's the other thing too, yeah, like, "Hey, who wants to go skydiving?" And you find out real fast who's afraid of heights.
Me, because I think you tagged me in that. You're like, maybe we could. I was like, I'll watch us. I'll film from the ground. I'll watch you land.
Well, and that's the other thing, Liz is one of those ones. She wants to go to, so, Eric takes trips to Vegas all the time to go down there for business, and he was talking about he skydives while he's in Vegas, and I was like, "Ooh, they can go year round down there because of the temperatures in the desert, where up here we have restrictions where the end of August, the last week in August, they shut down skydiving for the season, and it doesn't open back up again until spring." So, and then through posting it on the Facebook feed, Liz was like, "Oh, I always wanted to do that. Let's go to Vegas and make it happen." I was like, "Okay."
So when are you
Like,
guys coming? All of you should come and do the podcast in the studio
that's what we were all talking about. So I was like, but
after you've
yeah,
landed safe on the ground. Then
yeah,
come straight in here
straight
and
in here and
tell us
talk about
all
it.
about it. Yeah.
Will do.
Again, I'll watch and I'll take the photos. But no, that is amazing.
You're not into skydiving at all?
You know what I'm thinking about doing, and this is a big what if. It's my birthday in like less than 2 weeks, and I'm
Happy
actually
birthday.
thank you. It's the big 40, so it's a big one. I'm not really doing anything big, but this would be big for me. I'm thinking about going on a hot air balloon.
Ooh, I've
Wouldn't
always wanted to do that.
wouldn't
Never had
that
an
be cool?
opportunity though.
Right? And so, but that's just about as high up, unless I'm in an airplane and not jumping out of one. That's just about as brave as I reckon I'm gonna get.
Oh, you gotta realize hot air balloons, you're gonna be up there out in the temperatures and the weather. So you're gonna be almost as close to skydiving as you can get without actually, jumping.
Falling. Oh, my feet are gonna be planted on
Planted
something.
on the basket floor.
Yeah, I'll be holding on like this.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm thinking about doing, but that would be very, very brave of me. There's also so I live on the Strip right near the Stratosphere, and so all day long I see people jumping down, and it's like you should do
Oh,
it. When you guys come to Vegas, you gotta do it.
yes.
But, like, it's not like a bungee jump, like, you gotta step off it, and then you just kinda glide down. I see it all day long, and they also do rides up the top. It's, like, a million miles high. I actually don't know the actual footage, but it's very high, and there's a ride that kind of it's like a roller coaster, and it tips you off the edge, and then it goes back, and then there's a claw that spins you around, and then there's another one that goes all the way up to the top of the needle, and it drops you down, right? So I opened my email the other day, and my building are doing our Christmas party over there next
Ah,
week, and
go
we
for
get
it.
unlimited rides for the 2 hours. So
Oh, yeah.
I've also been very scared of rides my whole life, and I'm not sure whether or not I'm an actual chicken or I've always just told myself I'm a chicken because I was afraid I was never going to fit into the rides. So now that I know I can fit, and I know I'm afraid of heights, but I live 29 floors up, so I'm kind of getting a little bit better on my balcony. I'm like, okay, this is not so bad. I'm thinking next week I might go. I'm not jumping. I'm definitely not jumping, but I might go on one, two, or three of those rides.
There you go.
I
Nice. And
know.
that's the other thing too for me. It's about pushing the limits that I had set on myself from before. Like I'd always wanted to go bungee jumping before, but I knew like that in the back of my mind, I'm like, we're 331 pounds and that thing's rated for 350 pounds, and you're pushing right towards the limit of what a bungee cord is designed to do. Do you want to be
Yeah.
that person that jumps off and then it's like, oh, it snaps, and then you're like, oh,
Right, it's crazy because you don't actually let yourself think about, like, the fun side of it. You're worried about all the other and that's exactly why I'm like, "Oh, I've never been on a roller coaster," and it's not because I'm like, "Well, I don't wanna go fast and I don't wanna spin around." It was always because, like, I don't think I'm gonna fit in the seat. I don't think the strap's gonna grab me out, So it is so like, that's, like, one of my biggest, like, non-scale victories is just living life without those limitations.
there you go. Living without the limitations that like I said, like that has stuck in my mind ever since I had surgery. Every great thing that's ever happened to us lives on the other side of fear. And if you let fear dictate your happiness, you're never going to be happy. So I just, to me now, it's like, okay, I can fit in this ride. I can fit in a parachute. I can jump out of a plane. I can bungee jump.
Sky's the
I can,
limit.
yeah. So
Yeah.
now for me, it's like, you know what? It's like, life's too short, live, at least now you have the opportunity to like sort of make that happen for yourself. Why not take every advantage?
I love it. Raise your cup, Jon. Let's have a cheers. Cheers to living life to the
Ex-
fullest. Thank
Exactly.
you for being on this week's episode of Yes, Have a Sip of Bariatrics and Beyond. Um, I look forward to seeing you in just a few short months, but the cruise.
Absolutely. I
Unless you
can't
guys come to
wait.
Vegas before that. I'm up for that as well.
I'm trying to make that happen. Not sure it's going to happen until after the cruise, but I will definitely make it there. And I'll see if I can't talk you into jumping off the side of that building.
I'll film you from my balcony, actually, because I got a bird's eye view. Rally the troops. Let's do it. Jon, thank you so much. And we'll see you over in the Facebook land.
See ya.
Bye. Thanks, Jon.
Bye.